Good morning, my friend. New day, new learning. Are you ready?
Of course, I'm ready. Hello, Enrico.
Ciao, Mace. So today I want to present a simple structure that I'm using since several years that enable a meaningful technical conversation to emerge and that can have an immediate and continuous impact on your organization. This is what I call the forum. In my case, for example, the front-end forum. And it's basically nothing more than a recurring meeting where everyone can participate and contribute on executing or defining and executing relevant initiatives that drive technical excellence forward.
Sounds pretty cool.
Thank you, my friend. Let's see. But I want to make a step back. Why do we need people to talk together, right? Why is this important? And I was thinking about this, and for me, it is very important because if you don't provide space for engineers to have a meaningful conversation and very open conversation, you have a high risk of this conversation not happening. Most of the time as engineer, we are focused on our board and we are focused on producing value in the form of enhancing the product, maintaining the product. But if we want to make sure that we also work on increasing the quality of our environment, we need to provide a space for that. And as an organization, I think it's extremely important to send a signal to the engineers that work with us. We want to tell them, look, quality is important for us. We want you to take time for it. So we have a recurring structure for you to participate, have this open conversation, and try to come up with something about it. And who better than the engineer that work on a daily basis on the code to know and discover what is not working, right? We have both been there and we are still there, and we know when we are experiencing a pain. It's very clear to us whenever I need to wait 10 minutes for my Docker container to be up before starting to work. And this is something I want to tackle, but maybe this is not clear to our managers that are not working there. So this is why I believe that creating an open space and inviting the people that are working on the day-to-day on the code, it's extremely important. How should we do that? What are the learning that I gather through this year that can enable a higher quality space? What I think it's important is, as we said before, we want to invite everyone. So for example, I'm running this space for the front-end team. I've been doing that in several companies now. And for me, it's as easy as I want to provide a meeting for all the front-end engineers. But it doesn't stop there, right? Because there are probably there are probably several backend engineers as well that are actually interested in backend, that maybe in the past developed frontend, or that are actually interested in talking about frontend. So you want to make sure everyone is invited as kind of, let's say, direct invitee to the meeting on the frontend people, and you also open up optional to other people that might be interested. A very important aspect of this kind of space is to provide an equal opportunity for everyone to participate in the meeting. So by this, I mean that we all know, and one of those, for example, I'm a loud voice. I'm somebody that have a his in speaking. And there are other people that instead, are a bit more shy or introvert, or they are simply more reflective and they need more time. So I encourage people to use instruments like the circle. So, a simple structure that governs who is talking at any given moment to provide equal opportunity for everyone to participate in this meeting. We want to ensure that we leverage the insight of the group. And we do this by using voting system that enable everyone to decide what are the most important topics to discuss, as well what are the most important topics to address. And we are going to see later on a little bit how I structure this. And one very, very important rule is whenever we have this meaningful conversation, if we don't take the time to document what is emerging out of this conversation, we kind of lost everything, right? Like the conversation stays grow and die within this meeting. Instead, we want to make sure that we document this. We can do it in different form, like a meeting notes, for example, where at every meeting we document what are the outcome of this session, what are the insights. Sometimes maybe there are not going to be, right? It's not that you go in this session to have an outcome, but if there is something relevant, we want to document it. And if there are initiatives that are grown out of this space, we want to document such initiative and track their progress. What is actually the forum look like in my mind? So it's a very it all starts with a page, with a document that describe what is the goal of this particular forum. In my case, I think that the highest goal is to enable people to have open conversation on their work environment, on the thing that it's important to them. We want this meeting to be weekly, most likely. And I suggest to have it 1 hour, even in 1.5 hours, if it's possible, because generally 1 hour is a little bit short to accommodate everything. The structure of this meeting can be a little check-in, and then we need to always review depending initiative. So if there is an initiative that have emerged out of the forum, we want to make sure that we review it, we discuss potential blocker, and if there is anything that as a group we can do to drive this initiative to success. And then we want to also provide space to discuss new initiative, new topic that has been added to the board. So we keep a board, a Kanban board, where everyone can contribute and insert the topic that they want. And then in each edition of the forum, we enable these people to present the topics that they care about. If there are too many topics, we can enable asynchronous voting. So people can look at the board, can vote on the topics that they think are more relevant. And then whenever we get into the forum, we present the 3 to 5, let's say, highest voted topic. And then whenever there is a topic that we are interested, we open a conversation. So we spend 1 hour or maybe even multiple sessions on talking about this specific thing. You know, there is this new framework in React or this new coding style that we want to adopt. We make research, we talk about it, and then we define together what that should look like, for example. What topic should we actually discuss in the forum is up to you. Anything that is relevant to this group of people can and should be discussed in this. I would kind of avoid putting any limitation. Clearly, we don't want to go inside to talk about sport. We talk about front-end topics for us, for example, but it's pretty wide. And just to close, what are some very good habits to take to bring this initiative to success is make sure that you clearly define what initiative are, what is their goal and why did we came up with them. Make sure to decide who is going to lead this initiative. And it doesn't mean that this person is the only one that needs to be doing work, but it's the person that is going to make sure that this initiative is going to be driven towards success. And create an action plan. Whenever you have an agreement between your people, make sure to define what does it mean now that we decided to use this pattern. Should we use it always? Should we use it on this condition? How should we refactor our code? How should we do that? And make sure that this plan is visible to the rest of the team. And then track your initiative to completion as you track your day-to-day task. And this is the forum.
I would start with, I have a lot of questions. A lot of questions, because it's not entirely clear for me why even this initiative is important and needed for you. I'm thinking about my organization and where I'm working, and from my perspective, we are just handling most of the stuff I can imagine being discussed on the forum just on our daily basis. So can you give me some example of the thing that you want to discuss? Because you mentioned something about the pipeline, let's say, but I'm working in a relatively small team. So if we have like problem with the pipeline, we are just talking about this during our weekly, let's say, and just fixing the pipeline. So can you just give me one example of some topic which is really worth being proceed via forum?
Yes. So for example, what about comments in your code base? Do you accept comments? Do you, is everyone having a shared understanding of how to treat comments within your code base? What about the structure of your React component? Is this something for which you have guidelines? So what finally, it's the output for me of the forum and is what we call agreed practices. I don't like to think about guidelines in our code base because I think guidelines are too strict. But I like to think about agreed practices. What is that within our code base we agree is a good thing to be done, to do pretty much consistently. And anything that can go in there is something that we will discuss within the forum. So other example can be, how to deal with console log. When are we going to do package opting? What is the testing terminology and the testing structure that we want to use? How do we use null and undefined within the code base? What to do with MR review and the MR sites? Like there are so many topics that you can bring into the forum to have an actual active discussion. And I agree that for small team, this can happen on the day-to-day, but as soon as you're have multiple team and the front-end developer, for example, that work on different teams, then this kind of forum enable cross-pollination across the whole organization.
Okay, thank you, Enrico. That was very interesting. I feel like I need to think more about that because, as I said, I'm working in a small team right now and I don't clearly see this picture, but I think for the bigger group of people, there are a lot of obvious benefits and I would like to try it.
Thank you. It was fun. Ciao.